Hey guys, how are you? Coach Smith here. I'm at the district office today writing some geometry curriculum. Sorry I'm not with you, but I'm going to kind of walk you through what I need you to get out of today's lesson. So what you're looking at here is an equation of a line, a linear equation, and this is called slope-intercept form. It's given the name slope-intercept form because you're supposed to be able to look at that equation and find the slope and the y-intercept of a line. So M represents the slope of the line, and B represents the y-intercept of the line. So you might recall those from your Algebra 1 studies. So I'm going to walk you through some problems in your book. We're going to be on page 95, the check your understanding portion. So I'll see you there in just a moment. So on page 95, check your understanding, number 11, you see this. It says, what is the slope of a line parallel to the line with the equation y equals 4/5 x minus 7? Well, to be parallel means to have the same slope. And if we think back to slope-intercept form, one of these numbers, 4/5 or -7, is the slope, and the one that is the slope is this one right here. So the slope of this line is 4/5, therefore the slope of the line parallel to it will also be 4/5. So parallel lines have the same slope. So if I know the slope of a line, then I also know the slope of the line parallel to it. Now, number 12 asks us, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line with the equation y equals -2x plus 1? Well, if you'll think back to last week, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. So basically that means change the sign and turn it upside down. So our given line in number 12, what's the slope of the line given in number 12? Well, that is slope equals -2. And if we if we want the perpendicular slope, then the perpendicular slope, we have to change the sign to positive and turn that fraction upside down. So you might be saying, what fraction? Well, remember, a whole number is always over 1. So we take -2/1, change it to positive 1/2 for the perpendicular slope. All right, guys, here's number 13. Number 13 says, consider the lines described below. We have line A, line B, line C, and line D, and we want to use the vocabulary from this lesson and those previous to write a paragraph that describes the relationships among lines A, B, C, and D. So if you think about what we've been talking about, we need to figure out the slopes of all of these lines. So let's start with line A. What is the slope of line A? And hopefully you said 3/5. The slope of line A is indeed 3/5 because that line is given to us in slope-intercept form. Line B, we've got a line that passes through the point -6,1 and a line that passes through the point 3, -14. So we need to find the slope of that line. So let's use our slope equation. I'll write it down here. Slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if we're finding the slope of that line, we're going to go y2, which is -14 minus 1, Negative 14 minus 1 over 3 minus negative 6. Negative 14 minus 1 is negative 15. 3 minus negative 6 is 9. And that reduces to negative 5/3. Next, we need to find the slope of line C. So I'll let you do that one. So the slope of line C is 3/5. And then our last one, we need to do the slope of line D. And line D is given to us in semi-standard form, so what we need to do for that line is solve for y. So if I'm trying to solve this equation for y, I'm probably going to add 5x to both sides, so I'll get 3y equals 5x plus 6, and then I'll divide everything by 3. And then y is 5/3 x plus, let's see, 6 divided by 3, 2. Now comes the fun part, writing a paragraph describing what we see. Well, how many lines have the same slope? I see lines A and B, sorry, not B. I see lines A and C that both have a slope of 3/5. And then I see line B that has a slope of negative 5/3. So I notice that these two slopes are opposite reciprocals. And then I have line D, which has a slope that involves the same numbers, 5 and 3, but is not an opposite reciprocal of either of those, nor is it the same as either of those. So I would say lines A and C are parallel since they have the same slope, and line B is perpendicular to A and C because those slopes are opposite reciprocals, and line D is neither parallel nor perpendicular. All right, now I've turned over to page 96, and I'm looking at the lesson 8-2 practice, and we're going to do number 16 together. It says, what is the equation of a line parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 5, and that passes through the point 6a? So let's see, if it's parallel to this line, then what's its slope going to be? That's right, it's going to be negative 3. And now I want it to pass through this point and have this slope. So that reminds me of my favorite equation, and that is point slope form. And point slope form looks like this. Y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. So let's do that. We got y minus. Now what is the y coordinate of the point? It is 8. And then we have the slope, which is negative 3 times x minus, what is the x coordinate of the point? And it's 6. And if the directions just said write the equation, we're pretty much done. That is an equation of the line that passes through this given point and is parallel to the given line. But typically we want to write our equations in some other form. So let's go ahead and put this in slope-intercept form. So we will distribute the negative 3 next. So y minus 8 equals negative 3x, and then a negative times a negative. So that'll be plus 18. And then we need to add 8 to both sides. And y equals negative 3x plus 24. So this is the slope-intercept form of the equation passing through this point parallel to the given line. All right, number 17 wants me to find the equation of the line perpendicular to the given line that passes through the given point. So what will my perpendicular slope be? Well, let's see. I need to change the sign so it goes from positive to negative, and then I need to take 1/4 and write its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4. So we get this perpendicular slope then is negative 4. And now I'm going to use point slope form. So y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. So y minus, what's the y coordinate of the point? And that's right, it's 4, equals the slope, negative 4 times x minus the x coordinate. So y minus 4 equals negative 4 times x minus a negative means plus 2. Let's distribute the negative 4. Y minus 4 equals negative 4x minus 8. Now let's add 4 to both sides. And y equals negative 4x minus 4. So there's the equation of the line perpendicular to the given equation and passing through that point. All right, in this problem, we're given a segment. The segment is named AB, and our task here is to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of segment AB. So perpendicular bisector. So perpendicular means our equation should have a slope that's the opposite reciprocal of the slope of AB, and bisector means that our point should be the midpoint of segment AB. So let's see if we can find the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. So, two ways to think about it. One way is graphically. If we're counting from point A to point B, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. So half of that would be up 2 units and over 4 units. So the midpoint of segment AB would be right about there, and the coordinates of that point are 1, 3. Now the other way to find the coordinates of the midpoint are to take the coordinates of the points A and B, add the x's together, divide by 2, add the y's together, divide by 2. So, what is the slope of the line containing AB? Well, the first thing I recognize is that is a positive slope, and then I'm going to use counting again to find the slope, and I've kind of already done that for you. We go up 1 and over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So the slope of AB is 1/2. So the perpendicular slope will be negative 2. And so now I'm going to use my perpendicular slope and my midpoint. So y minus the y coordinate equals the slope I'm interested in times x minus the x coordinate. So y minus 3 equals negative 2x plus 2. Add 3 to both sides, and y equals negative 2x plus 5. So if I were to graph that line, it would be the perpendicular bisector of segment AB. And I will see you guys in class on Thursday. Thursday we will do a lot of reviewing, and Friday we will have a test over transversals and alternate interiors and all those fun things.